Nami is one of those champions who can impact a game on a multitude of levels. And truthfully, it doesn't really matter what elo she's played in. From Iron all the way up to the world stage, Nami has been consistently one of the top supports to round out any team comp, which is why we feel she's an excellent candidate to receive our wonderful rework. During this video, we will break down the areas we feel Nami could use a big overhaul and present to you guys a very awesome rework of a very popular champion. Welcome to our Nami rework. As always, please like and subscribe. Let us know what you think about the content and let us know what champions you would like to see us rework in the future. Now, with as awesome as Nami's kit is, we do feel there are some areas where she can use a little bit of a change. And that's kind of what we wanted to highlight. The first thing is getting rid of her weak area, which is her passive, and we'll explain that a little bit later. Also, the weak non-clickable ability that she uses for her W. And we don't really feel that her lore really plays or mixes well with her current gameplay. And we wanted to focus on that as well to make it feel like you're really this water-bending, enchanting champion who can control the water and bend it to her will. Now, with all three of these things, like I said, these are the 3 points that we're going to be focusing on during this rework, among some other things as well. Hopefully you guys kind of agree with us, but let us know if you think we got something wrong or you think there was something that we missed that we could have changed. Now, as for some of the things that we want to add to her kit, like I said, we're going to remodel her passive to make it feel more water bending and that you have more control over the water elements, as well as creating a new immersive gameplay that is very particular and only used by Nami. As well, we think with these abilities, this will raise the skill cap, which we already think this champion is very, very high level anyways. You can really tell the difference between somebody who's first started playing Nami and somebody who plays Nami professionally or even has a Nami World Champion skin. Probably one of the reasons why that she's played at Worlds. But like I said, we'll get right here into the concept with her new passive. Now, Nami's old passive is called Surging Tides. With this passive, anytime Nami casts an ability on herself or near herself, she'll gain a burst of movement speed. Now, with her new passive, this is now called Waterbending. With Nami's magical staff, she gains the power of the ocean, giving her the ability to control and manipulate any form of water around her. Nami's abilities against enemy champions will leave behind a magical reservoir of water, which Nami can control and use to her advantage, decaying over the next few seconds. Abilities can also gain additional effects when being used on water-like terrain. This also counts for the river and any magical reservoirs that Nami creates. Nami also gains bonus movement speed while moving through river or water-created terrain. We took a very different approach to her passive, still including the bonus movement speed, but we wanted to give her some other tools that will be used later on in her kit, being able to create these magical reservoirs, which you'll see why they're so useful later on in her kit. Nami's old Q was called Aqua Prison. This was a skill shot where Nami would shoot a magical bubble at target direction, deal magic damage, as well as knocking targets up for X amount of seconds. Now, also with this ability, this would give Nami bonus movement speed if she casted this upon herself, helping her get out or to be able to get into a team fight or any type of fighting skirmish arrangement. Now, her new Q is called Bubble Prison, which has two different actives. First one, which is a quick cast, which would be very similar to her old Q, very similar to just how the mechanics, how the animation would work. The second part is now a charged effect, where the longer Nami charges her Bubble Prison, the more the bubble will grow, increasing the root size and damage, basically the root radius of how many champions or how many minions, monsters, targets it's going to be able to. After X amount of seconds, the bubble will pop, leaving behind a magical reservoir for X amount of seconds. Nami is standing on top of a magical reservoir already, or on top of water. This has an enchanted effect. Once that bubble pops, all targets who were caught inside of that will now be slowed for X amount of seconds. Nami's old W was called Even Flow. This was a weird healing damage priority target attack that would heal allies who were close to Nami and dealing damage to enemy champions who were close. And it had this bouncing effect as you see now, and it ended up getting patched later to where it would only heal and deal damage to one individual, but it had a lot of different effects to it. And this is one of the big parts that we wanted to change. We felt that this ability, very similar to something like Sona's Q, takes very little skill and really has no place in the current version of League of Legends, where everything is skill shot based or getting close to being skill shot based. This ability just kind of lowers the ceiling for Nami. So with Nami's new W, we call this Fountain of Tides. Nami creates a powerful fountain at target location. The fountain's power slowly expands the terrain underneath with powerful water magic, covering the terrain with water. During this time, allies who stand inside of the fountain will be given the Tide's Blessing, which will slowly grant them HP regeneration for 12 to 14 seconds, healing between 25 and 55% of that ally's total missing HP. Now that sounds like a lot. However, the downside is, the more allies who stand within the fountain, this will wither the power away or to its limit, lowering the total HP regen for all allies involved. Now the first part of this I wanted to make sure was very clear is that this ability will create water terrain wherever Nami is. So this ability doesn't have necessarily a magical reservoir effect in the fact that it's already making water. So I know that may be a question for some people. So this is already creating a water terrain wherever Nami decides to place this down, and then turns into an AoE healing ability, which will slowly go down in HP regen effectiveness depending on how many allies are standing within the circle. Also with this ability, Nami can also recast Fountain of Tides for 50% of the total cost. This will create a whirlpool inside of the fountain, which will cancel its HP regen buff, but instead will slow enemy targets who walk inside of the whirlpool. The whirlpool moves in a counterclockwise pattern, which will pull targets closer to its center as they move through it. And note, like I said, this entire instance of Fountain of Tides counts as a magical reservoir, so any abilities that Nami uses during or inside of Fountain of Tides will count as enhanced effects. Now, Nami's old E used to be called Tidecaller's Blessing. Now this ability, Nami would target herself or an ally, and for the next 3 autos, they would gain magical enhancements to their auto attacks, which would also slow enemy champions. This is a very good ability, one of the best abilities when it came for Nami to dueling level 1 skirmishes with other supports, but we decided to change it. So now her new E is called Aqua Flow. Nami targets one allied champion, enhancing their next 4 basic auto attacks while in range of Nami. Enhanced basic auto attacks deal bonus magic damage based on Nami's current bonus ability power, which this can scale throughout the game. Enhanced basic attacks that hit enemy champions will leave behind a bubble of water, which Nami can auto attack to pop, leaving behind a puddle of water, which will then turn into a magical reservoir. The enhanced version of this ability, if Nami is in range of her enhanced ally and standing on water, Nami gains bonus attack speed during that duration. This is a enhanced version, as you can say, of her old E, giving her some extra effects, still keeping the ability to enhance one of your allies, giving them bonus damage, but also having it scale with your bonus magic damage. I think is really good going into the late game, making her a huge powerhouse, almost making her sort of a mini Lulu, if you will. And last but not least, we go to Nami's ultimate, which was called Tidal Wave. Nami would choose a target direction and launch a wave in that target direction. This tidal wave would deal magic damage, knock targets up, and slow them for X amount of seconds, as well as having an extra effect where this ability would grant bonus movement speed to any of her allies who walk in range of this tidal wave. This ability has a lot of good both engage and disengage tools, and we really wanted to keep this ability intact, but we wanted to add our own little spin to it. So the new ultimate is called the Mirai's Awakening, which is a very large AoE skill shot, very similar. Nami summons a giant wave in target direction. All of that right there is basically what the old ultimate was, but we decided to add some new stuff to it. So with Nami's wave, the longer it travels, the wave will grow in size and strength. Nami can extend the range of her wave by aiming the skill shot through water-based terrain. This will react with both Nami-created water, which is magical reservoirs, or the actual river itself. Now with this ability, there has to be some sort of cutoff point for when different effects will happen. So what we did, we took the actual pixelated range of this ability and broke it down into a few different parts. And with each one of these parts, it has a cutoff point for both where it starts and where it will stop with its effects. So like I said, the Mirage Awakening has 3 tiers of travel with a max range of 2,550. So the first one is between 0 and 800 pixels, which the wave will slow by 40% for X amount of seconds, deals magic damage, slows enemy targets, and slows their first 2 auto attacks for X amount of seconds, very similar to the old ultimate. With the second range, which is between 851 pixels and 1700 pixels, the wave will grow in size, deals more magic damage, knocks targets up, and also adds the previous slowing effect from the first tier. Now for the third tier, which has a pixel range of 1701 to 2550. The wave will reach its max peak size, crashing down on targets, dealing increased magic damage, creating a stun zone to all targets caught inside the blast range, as well as having all of the effects from the second and first tier. So it will slows the first auto attacks, does a tiny knock-up, deals bonus magic damage, and stuns them. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here, but the biggest thing is knowing how to place your magical reservoirs or how to aim this ability so it's traveling through water terrain at some point to gain its extra speed and extra range. This ability, if you don't have it travel through any form of range, of any form of magical reservoir or water terrain, this will max out at about 1,000 pixels. So just keep that in mind. This ability will only reach its max potential by using it with water terrain. Now this will conclude our current rework for Nami. As we're going through and looking back at other reworks, we're always looking to change and rework them ourselves just to make them better, especially if you guys, the fans, give us some very cool ideas. Now with this Nami rework, let us know what you guys think down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and let us know what champions you would like to see us rework in the future. Or like I said in previous videos, we are currently looking to rework every single champion in League of Legends just to see if we can do it, and just to seeing if we can come up with some crazy different concepts. Like always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.